The wife cheats on her husband for 25 years. Her husband discovers the secret, but it is too late. Hello, everyone. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's begin the video. Using a throwaway for obvious reasons, with certain specifics modified to preserve anonymity. The story kicks off with Jack on a luxurious yacht cruising in Milan, looking genuinely content. Not long after, he's at a fashion event alongside his wife and their daughter, Sophie. It's obvious that Jack is a shoe designer, and all the runway models are showcasing footwear he created. After the show wraps up, Jack and Sophie head over to the model's dressing area, where Jack greets the designer, Lisa, and her assistant, Ralph. At that moment, Sophie tells her dad she's heading out because her husband, George, is waiting outside. She waves farewell to her mom and leaves with George. Meanwhile, Ralph, Jack's friend and Lisa's assistant, tries to persuade her not to retire. But Lisa's mind is made up. She insists she's ready to step away, telling Ralph that now's the right time. As Peter approaches, Jack remarks, "You know Ralph," and Ralph responds, "Yes." Then Peter says, "I'll leave you two to it and wait for you at the restaurant so we can celebrate this milestone." Not long after, Jack arrives at the restaurant where he's waiting. He sits down and they chat briefly. Jack mentions how much he loves her shoes but admits he doesn't care much for Lisa's fashion style or Ralph. They order from the menu, and Jack mentions that the restaurant specializes in fish unlike any other in Milan. It turns out Lisa often flies to Milan to close deals with shoe stores. Then asks him, "Have you ever felt like being with someone else besides me?" Jack replies, "No, I've spent more than half my life with you. My love for you has never faded, and I've never once felt the need for another woman." She responds, "I love you so deeply. If I didn't, I would have left you ages ago." A few days later, Lisa tells Jack she's headed to Milan to settle some business issues. She packs her bags and departs. 9 months pass, and we see Jack clearing out all of Lisa's clothes from the house. At the same time, Sophie visits and finds him gathering her mother's wardrobe. He hands her the clothes, saying, "I don't want to see these anymore." She replies, "We're the same size, but I don't want her things." Suddenly, Jack finds Lisa's phone, slips it into his desk drawer, and then Sophie hands him a note she says her mom asked her to give him. When Jack opens it, he sees the words "Lake." That night, a voice message plays on Lisa's phone. When Jack listens, he hears a man saying, "I miss you so much. I haven't heard your voice in forever and I wish I could see you." Jack's face tightens in shock. He never imagined Lisa might have been unfaithful all along. He leaves the phone on Lisa's laptop and heads upstairs to sleep, but his mind refuses to rest. Later, he goes back down to browse her photos on the laptop, family pictures, until he stumbles upon a folder labeled "Love." When he tries to open it, he finds it's password protected. After several failed guesses, he searches through more images and finds photos of Lisa with Ralph. From the last fashion show, their closeness is obvious. Then an email from Ralph arrives, saying he still loves Lisa and asking her to leave everything behind and come to him to rekindle their affair. The next morning, Jack confronts Ralph at the fashion house, asking, "Were you involved with Lisa?" Ralph replies, "No, but I wish we were closer because you're not right for her. I don't understand why she loved or married you." The owner of the fashion house then tells Jack that she suspected Lisa was involved with someone else, but Ralph wasn't the one. Jack leaves, visits Sophie, and tells her everything. She, however, refuses to believe her dad and snaps, "I won't let you talk about my mom that way." She prepares a room for him to sleep in, but soon after, Jack leaves the house and goes back home. Later, Jack texts Ralph saying, "That woman you emailed, she no longer exists," and deletes the message. The next day at work, Jack asks his secretary to call Joy, the company's cybersecurity expert, right away. When Joy arrives, Jack gives her the email address that sent the message to Lisa and asks her to dig up the owner's details. She inquires if he plans to pursue the sender, and Jack responds ominously, "To kill him." Joy promises to gather all relevant data. Jack stays late, and eventually another email from Ralph lands in his inbox, claiming that love never truly ends and referencing too many memories shared between them. He concludes by saying he was happy Lisa responded earlier. Then Jack approaches the security manager, asking where he can buy a gun, to which the man refuses. Later, Jack experiments with different passwords to unlock the password-protected folder. When he finally types Lake, it opens, revealing photos of Lisa with another man in Milan, meeting at restaurants by the lake and in a hotel. The images make one thing clear: Lisa had a secret relationship. Heartbroken, Jack is devastated. Ralph's email details arrive, revealing that his name is Ralph, 36, living in Milan, specifically at 36th Street. Jack requests his secretary book him a flight to Italy and reserves a hotel. When he arrives, he heads to Ralph's building but can't get in because of the locked gate. Waiting until a resident opens it, Jack sneaks inside. He looks for Ralph's name among the mailboxes but finds nothing. He then waits upstairs, hoping Ralph will come out. Eventually, Ralph exits and heads to a. Jack follows and observes him sitting in the chess section. He doesn't approach yet and just watches. Meanwhile, Sophie worries about her dad and calls him multiple times, but he doesn't answer. Jack, meantime, is in his hotel room, flipping through photos of Lisa with Ralph, remembering how cheerful she looked. Sleep eludes him. Early next morning, he heads to the and takes a seat where Ralph usually plays chess. Ralph shows up and comments, "I always sit here." Jack then invites him to a game. Ralph agrees. As they play, Ralph talks about himself. His mom is English, his dad Spanish. He admits he never stays in one place long and loves visiting London and New York. During the game, he mentions she was a shoe designer and says he first saw her wearing striking red shoes. When asked when, Ralph replies, 12 years ago. Jack feels a surge of shock and betrayal but quickly regains composure. He asks, "When was the last time you saw her?" Ralph says, 9 months ago, but I believe I'll see her again soon. At this point, Sophie and her husband go to Jack's house to check on him but aren't able to find him. Sophie finds her mom's phone and listens to Ralph's message, her eyes widening in surprise. She had doubted her dad's story. The next day, Jack and Ralph meet again at the playing another chess game. During it, Jack asks if Ralph used to visit Milan often. Ralph responds affirmatively, mentioning a visit to a shoe factory where Lisa was involved. He recalls how she insisted on ending their affair, but he begged her to leave everything behind and run away. He tells Jack that they danced in front of the factory workers, who cheered them. That night in the rain, they ran away together. Jack remembers Lisa coming home happy after a trip, smiling and saying she missed him, thinking the distance made her appreciate him more. But he never suspected she was being unfaithful. He also recalls her last words in the restaurant, the morning after. Later, Jack and Ralph meet at a museum, where Ralph admits he's never married, finding marriage too restrictive, and has a son he knows nothing about. Ralph asks Jack if he's married, to which he responds, "Yes, 25 years. I love my wife and she loves me. We trust each other completely and neither of us ever cheated." Ralph counters, "It's tough to stay loyal that long." The next day they play chess again. Ralph jokes about winning, but Jack surprises him and wins with a clever move. Then Ralph gets a call from Lisa's number. Panic flashes across his face as he answers, calling her name before rushing out of the. Jack follows him, only to find Ralph's calling the number back. It turns out, it was Sophie calling Ralph from her mother's phone. Hearing his voice, she quickly ends the call. But that incident sparks new hope for Ralph that Lisa might still be alive. The next day, Sophie visits her dad's company, trying to find out where he went. Meanwhile, Ralph tells Jack that the call was from Lisa's number and that she's the most beautiful woman he ever knew. He reminisces about their relationship, revealing that her departure made him realize she was the only one he ever loved. Jack loses his temper. They argue. Ralph assumes Jack's upset about losing the chess game and dismisses it as just a game. But then Ralph spots one of his creditors entering. He quickly leaves, paying what he owes, and follows him. Sophie then arrives, asking what he's doing there. Ralph explains he's cleaning a turtle he found at the building's entrance. Jack, suspicious, spots a hammer in the room. He picks it up, ready to strike Ralph, who's unaware, but Ralph hands him the turtle, saying how adorable it is. Jack gently takes it, then leaves. Back at his hotel, Jack finds Sophie with her bag, saying she's returning to London and advises him to forget all this madness. Jack refuses and Sophie departs. Alone, Jack then fakes being Lisa, sending Ralph an email arranging a secret meeting at their old hotel by lake on Friday evening. Ralph reads it with joy and invites Jack to dinner at his apartment the next day. Jack borrows the keys to an empty apartment, knowing the owners are away, and heads there alone just before his meeting. When he reaches the ground floor, Ralph calls from the stairs telling him, "Come up to my apartment." Jack goes up, despite knowing it's not really Ralph's place, as Ralph reveals he's meeting Lisa on Friday and asks to borrow money. Jack shells out the cash. Later, Ralph leaves his hotel, heading to the restaurant, but is stunned to find Jack waiting. Jack then reveals the truth. Lisa died of cancer 9 months earlier. We flash back to the scene where a doctor tells Jack Lisa refused treatment because she didn't want her body disfigured. Ralph then argues that Lisa did the right thing, maintaining her beauty. Jack, raging, protests that her body could have been saved. We see again how Lisa told Jack she was happy in their marriage and how she wanted a special place to visit, something she couldn't bring herself to write when she was sick. Eventually, she wrote Lake, passing the note to her daughter before she passed. Her health declined and Jack and Sophie took care of her together. In the present, Ralph questions how Jack found out about her affair. Jack says he saw the pictures, especially emails on her laptop. Ralph confesses he's never married either, finding it too limiting, and has a kid he knows nothing about. He then says he's never been unfaithful because he loved Lisa, and that the money Jack gave him helped buy him a suit and a suite, but he'd never repay him. Enraged, Jack walks away. We return to Lisa's death with Jack and Abigail mourning her passing. Later, Jack goes back to his home in Cambridge. He calls his daughter, arranging to meet her in London the next day. When he arrives, he spots Ralph in a pub Ralph used to visit. Jack invites him to dinner, in honor of Lisa. The gathering includes Lisa's friends and the owner of her old fashion house. When Abigail arrives, she sees her father proudly introducing Ralph, saying, "This is my wife's friend. I'm here tonight to honor Lisa's memory." Finally, at the train station, Jack and Sophie wait for their train home. Jack turns to his daughter and says, "Ralph isn't worth even our revenge." The film ends there.